What is up, wrestling fans? This is Kayfabe Chronicles, and I am your host, JP. Holy crap, Survivor Series is just around the corner, and NXT has thrown their name into the hat. What the heck's going to happen with all this? I'm going to let you know right now. Hello, and welcome to the live stream. This is Kayfabe Chronicles, and I am your host, JP. If this is your first time here, please stick around for a little while. Partake in the chat room to the left-hand side of the screen, and if you like what you see, make sure to crush like, hit subscribe, and click the bell notification for whenever we post videos. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to check out that Facebook page, check out that Twitter account, and now let's get the ball rolling. Alright, if you guys are living underneath a rock, as me, technically speaking, you guys will know that, boom, NXT has been thrown into the hat for this year's Survivor Series. There's been a lot of talks, a lot of rumors about this over for the past couple years. They're always Raw versus SmackDown, Raw versus SmackDown, Raw versus SmackDown. Well, when's NXT going to get their opportunity? So, of course, with NXT getting their own show this year, it only made complete sense. Like, okay, let me reword that. They've always had their own show, but now them being on an actual TV network and having more people being able to openly access them, there we go. It only made sense for them to get their opportunity. So the storyline was kind of pushed earlier, like this was going to happen. Everyone's saying, oh, this only happened because of the Saudi Arabia show. No, this was always going to happen. They just pushed it a little bit earlier, and it made total sense. So if you guys didn't see Crown Jewel, of course, a lot of the WWE superstars, a lot of the roster, a lot of the clientele got trapped in Saudi Arabia for an extra day. And of course, SmackDown was the next day, so they didn't have a full roster. So boom, pull the trigger, get it going. A lot of the NXT superstars literally found out not even a couple hours before SmackDown that they were going to be invading SmackDown. So a lot of them hopped on a plane, flew to SmackDown to do this invasion angle. And I was absolutely digging it. Like, as soon as I saw the freaking car pull up and Triple H get out, I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And it was absolutely amazing just seeing just everything that was happening. So if you guys didn't see, pretty much the entire NXT locker room came out and just flat out just laid waste to the WWE roster. Bayley had her match again. Bayley won her match, and while she was celebrating, Shayna Baszler jumped her from behind, took out Sasha Banks, took out Bayley, which was absolutely cool. And then from then on in, it was just nonstop bloodshed, nonstop rolling the entire time. And Triple H just flat out went on the microphone and says, like, you guys consider us the minor roster, and just boom. So as you guys don't know, it has been fully announced that yes, at Survivor Series this year, it is going to be Team Raw versus Team SmackDown versus Team NXT. They are duplicating a lot of the previous style matches where like the three champions will fight. So already announced match is going to be Becky Lynch taking on Bayley, taking on Shayna Baszler, which I'm really super excited for. Shayna's promos have been on fire in regards to this. One that they did a couple days ago was just Becky Lynch sitting down for just interview with Charlie Caruso, and just Shayna just came in and just flat out, or was it Kathy Kelly? One of the two, doesn't matter. And then Shayna just came in and just pretty much hijacked the interview and just flat out just called Becky out and said, like, ooh, like, you beat my friend Ronda. Well, I'm not Ronda Rousey. I've been doing this a hell of a lot longer than she has. And ooh, just like the feels. And of course, our NXT champion, my boy Adam Cole, having two phenomenal matches pretty much back to back. He took on Daniel Bryan in the main event on SmackDown, and then once again on Monday Night Raw took on Seth Rollins. So in the span of two shows, taking on two very well-known, well-established superstars, putting his name on the map. My only issue, though, is that the crowd, like, I get that a lot of the main roster crowd doesn't watch NXT. They don't understand the magic that is NXT, but at least look alive, at least kind of be up. Like, every single time you watch NXT, the crowd's on fire, the crowd's hot, and they were just like, like, Adam Cole comes out. When he points himself, you go boom. When he raises his fingers, you yell Adam Cole, baby. That's just the way it is. Those are the written rules. I didn't make them, and the crowd was just like, they didn't understand that. But, hopefully after Survivor Series, the crowd's going to understand who the heck NXT is and why that this is absolutely phenomenal. I remember growing up, because I said, I started watching wrestling in the mid-'80s, but I was, of course, there watching the Invasion angle when I was a kid. And I enjoyed it back then as a kid. I thought it was great. Like, you know, when WCW came in and ECW and they had like that whole. But then when you rewatch it now as an adult, you're like, didn't age too well. Didn't age too well. Maybe because I understand the product a little bit better. I kind of get what they're doing. But this, so far, we're like a week and a half in. This is correct. This is what that invasion angle should have been. Like me, as like a long-term fan, I'm actually really invested in this. I'm wanting to see how this turns out. I'm wanting to see, you know, like the fans watch NXT and understand NXT in whole and get the entire beauty that is NXT. Like this is what that invasion angle of the late 90s should have been. Overall, some of the other matches that, of course, have already been announced, the tag team matches. So originally it was going to be the War Raiders taking on Undisputed Era, taking on the Revival, which I was really excited for because it is three of the greatest NXT tag team champions of all time. But if you guys didn't see on SmackDown last week, the New Day defeated the Revival, so it looks like New Day is going to be inserted into that match instead, which is great. I like the New Day. I dig the New Day. I'm a big New Day fan. It's just I just wanted to see War Raiders and Era and Revival. It just would have been so cool because like I've seen like sorry, Viking Raiders, or I'm still gonna call them War Raiders. I've seen the Viking Raiders fight Undisputed Era numerous times, but just getting the Revival in there would have been just like that extra little the icing on the cake would have been just so much cooler. But hey, there's still time. Maybe the Revival will win their belts back and find their way back into the match. A couple of the other matches that are most likely going to help is going to be like the mid-card championship. So you're going to have, Shinsuke taking on AJ, taking on Roderick Strong. That hasn't been fully announced yet, but I'd be really for that. I know for a fact, though, that they are not going to be doing the World Championships. So originally, everyone was going to say, it's going to be The Fiend taking on Adam Cole, taking on Brock Lesnar. That is out the window. That's done. They've already said that's not happening because Brock Lesnar's going to be taking on Rey Mysterio, which makes a little sense. Like, that makes some sense, but whatever. I don't get that angle. It's weird. It's just it's bizarre. One thing that I do really like though about Survivor Series is that they are still going to have the 5v5 stuff, which is great. I remember growing up, there were no other matches. Like Survivor Series was always the elimination matches, and I talked about this last year in my Survivor Series video that I discussed that I would really like if they were just to go back to that, but they have announced that it is going to be 5v5 the women again this year so far. So we got Team Sasha Banks taking on I don't even know, maybe they'll talk about more on Raw. I just found out about that about 5 minutes ago, but so far Team Sasha Banks is Carmella, Sasha Banks, and Dana Brooke. Good on Dana. Like I said, you guys know, if you guys watch the channel, I'm a big fan of Dana Brooke. I think it's great that she's getting the opportunities because she's been working her butt off. And from where she was years ago to where she is now, 2 thumbs way up. But like the one thing that's kind of egging in my head about this entire invasion angle is that literally the night before, NXT has War Games. Yeah, like I'm not even kidding. Like seriously, like NXT Wargames 2019 is seriously the night before this. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Wargames pay-per-view, it's probably the most violent NXT event of the year. If you guys aren't familiar with the actual Wargames concept, it was old school NWA, like Dusty Rhodes invented it. Essentially, it's a double cage, so it's 2 rings side by side with a metal plate in the middle separating the two, and it's a giant cage that covers up both things. So the match starts with there's 2 teams, 1 person from each team starts, and every couple minutes, I think it's 2 or 3 minutes, another person from each team comes into the ring, one at a time though. So it'll be like 2 start, and then 1 person from a team comes in, and then they'll fight, and then the person from the other team will come in, so alternating. Then once all the competitors have entered into the ring, first pinfall wins. It's a very, very, very violent match. Every year since NXT's been doing it, so it's been 2 years for sure. And the Undisputed Era has been involved in all of them, which is great. And Undisputed Era is going to be involved in this year's cage match again, which is absolutely ridiculous. Great though. There's injuries every single time. So the fact that they're going to be participating the very next night on Survivor Series is absolutely just bonkers. It is absolutely insane. Which once again brings me to Shayna Baszler. So one of the main highlight matches for this year's War Games is the first ever all women's War Games. So we got Team Rhea Ripley taking on Team Shayna Baszler. So just push that off to the side right now. Shayna, so if you guys have pieced it together, she's going to be in War Games on Saturday, and then on Sunday fighting Bayley and Becky Lynch. You go, girl. Like, if you guys aren't impressed by Shayna Baszler after this weekend, I don't know what to tell you guys, because she is absolutely phenomenal. I said, like, when I first saw her in the Mae Young Classic, the first one, I was like, really? Because, like, her matches were all just squash matches and there wasn't anything fancy, but she's grown so much over the past 2 years. And I'm looking forward to both of those matches. Now brings me to my main thing with this year's takeover. So the storyline that they're really pushing right now is it's going to be a 4v4. Originally, everyone thought it was going to be a 5v5 just because there's enough women on the roster to warrant a 5v5. But then it started to take shape, like Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke. Just, they're not ready yet as wrestlers. Like I said, like, they're learning, they're getting better every single week. But to put two green people in a match like this would just, it wouldn't end well. It wouldn't look good. It'd be dangerous, in my opinion. So far, pretty much the entire week last week on NXT was both of them choosing their teams. So Rhea Ripley took Tegan Nox as her first overall pick. Great pick. Everyone knows I love Tegan. And yes, I know Rhea Ripley injured Tegan, blah, 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 blah. No, they don't even bother about that. That storyline's done. If they were going to pull the trigger on that redemption storyline, it's way too late now. And her second pick was, of course, Candice LeRae, which another great pick. It's Candice. It's freaking Candice wrestling. Like, she's phenomenal. So that was that, and then it left one spot open. And then, of course, on the other side, it was Shayna Baszler, who took Io Shirai and Bianca Belair as her partners, therefore leaving one spot open on that team. So this last week on NXT, Dakota Kai was in a match against Shayna Baszler to prove to herself and to prove to Rhea Ripley that she deserves to be on that team. If you guys didn't see that match, absolutely amazing. I strongly recommend it. Dakota versus Shayna was 2 thumbs way up. Great match for both of them. Said, like, you know, every single time Dakota's fought Shayna for the past year and a little bit, it was always a squash match. She was just never able to do it, but she actually held her own, carried on a phenomenal match. Unfortunately, she did lose. She did have to tap out to the Kirifuda clutch, as usual. And, of course, after the match, all the women came down and just started fighting, you know, all that crazy crap. Mia Yim comes out with a kendo stick and just starts beating the living hell out of everybody, because Mia Yim's been kind of away for a little while, so it was cool to see her back again. So immediately after the match, they're all backstage and everyone thinks, like, oh, you know, they're going to announce Dakota Kai as the team member because she stood up to Shayna. But no, ladies and gentlemen. Rhea Ripley flat out said, I want Mia because she's tough and tenacious and all that stuff. Therefore, pretty much leaving my girl Dakota Kai not in this match. Dakota stormed off right after. She cut an interview saying, like, she was really wanting to be in this cage match. However, this is what I think is going to happen. I'm pretty sure it's unanimous thought on all the internet wrestling community. Next week on NXT, it's going to be Mia Yim taking on Io Shirai, where the winner gets advantage for the team. So the way advantage works in the War Games is you'll always have the one up on it. So you get first person in the cage and so on and so on. So you'll always have just the extra man advantage going into the match. What's going to happen is Dakota Kai is going to come in and cost Mia Yim the match and join with Team Shayna, which would, like, on paper, doesn't make sense, but it does make sense. Because, you know what, a Dakota Kai heel turn would be pretty cool. I think she has it in her. I've seen, like, she has a mean streak. Like, you know, she's, like, all cute, bubbly girl next door, but, like, when she's in the ring, she's pretty deadly. Like, she is not something that you would want to mess around with. So I'm calling it right now. So the 4th member of Team Shayna, I think, is going to be Dakota. I think that's going to be great, because then I'll be cheering for Team Shayna all the way, because my girl, Dakota, Team Kick. But overall, I'm really excited for the ladies. I think it's due time that they're able to get a War Games. They've been talking about this since last year. But the main thing with this entire thing is I think that this is NXT's opportunity to prove that they are not the main, that they are the main roster. Sorry. So it's just the fact that they have War Games, and then the very next night they're going to be competing in Survivor Series is going to open up a lot of eyes to this product. Because if they can pull this pay-per-view off and Survivor Series off, and maybe even win Survivor Series, That'd be absolutely phenomenal. I think that would put a lot of eyes on the product. Now, when you're looking at like the internet wrestling community, everyone's like, oh, NXT, blah, blah, blah. They're not getting any ratings. AEW's crushing them every week, blah, blah, blah. NXT's been around for all these years and they can't get. That's because NXT was on the WWE network. The WWE network is not available to everybody. The WWE network's actually very hard to get unless you live in certain countries. Like in the States, you can easily just pay for it. Boom, there it is. In Canada, there's weird stuff you got to do. In Canada, you actually have to have a TV subscription and you got to order it through like your television provider. You can't just download an app and treat it like Netflix. It doesn't work that way. There are ways around it. You can jailbreak and pretend that you live in the States and blah, 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 and all this other crap. But like in the States, you can literally just download the WWE app. Boom, there it is, right there on your phone. In other countries, boom, download it, there it is. So there's a lot of people who don't even have the WWE network never even knew what NXT was. So now that NXT is actually on a network channel where you can, every Wednesday you can just flip through channels, boom, there it is. Now you can watch it. So I think that this is perfect timing in regards to an NXT Invasion. I think that having an NXT Invasion during this time makes complete sense because now people are going to be able to see the product and more people are going to want to tune into Survivor Series. This is a great marketing ploy by putting this different new brand into the mix. It opens up a lot of possibilities for viewers who wouldn't care. Like I said, every year it's been Raw versus SmackDown, and it kind of gets stale. So now that you've thrown NXT into this mix, it's going to make a lot of people want to watch it. People who are probably just getting into the product, like they're just flipping through the channels and they see NXT and they watch it and they're like, oh, this is different. It's kind of, oh, they're going to be fighting the main WWE roster. I'm going to pay that. I'm going to check that out for sure. Boom, there you go. License to print money. If this is done correctly, I think that it's going to be a huge event for sure. And said in my heart, I would really love if NXT was to actually win a couple matches. If Shayna was to beat Bayley and Becky Lynch, that'd be amazing. But depending on what some of the other matches are, I would love to see that. So who knows what's going on? I really don't know what's going to be going on just in regards to everything. Like I said, we're still 2 weeks out, still lots of stuff to come in, but yeah, I'm really excited for NXT being part of this. I think it's a long time coming, and I'm really glad that the world is going to be able to finally see how good NXT is and that they are truly the main roster. How do you guys think NXT is going to fare in this entire invasion? Let me know in that comment section below. As always, if you guys like what you saw, make sure to crush like, hit subscribe, and click the bell notification for whenever we post videos. And remember, if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to hit those two up. Check out that Facebook page. Check out that Twitter account. As always, this is JP from Kayfabe Chronicles. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. I got some house renovations to do, so I will see you guys next time.